The film series that won't die. Nearly 30 movies. One house. Actually, several houses. And cursed artifacts.
The Amityville Horror Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Amityville Podcast. I am Tom, and this is...
Patrick. And yeah, this week we are going to be covering Amityville 1992, It's About Time.
A.K.A. Curse of Amityville, the final chapter. I love it when a horror movie franchise has a prematurely named final chapter. Mm-hmm. Like, Friday the 13th has both a final chapter, part 4, and a final Friday, part 9, neither of which were accurate.
Yeah. This one is not just not the final chapter, it's the first of 3 movies in a row made by Republic Pictures that went straight to video. These are the 3 that closed out the original Amityville run before the 2005 remake, which makes you think that we're further along in this podcast than we are, but
we are not.
This batch is going to put us at about the 1/3 mark.
Yeah, and you can really tell, like, this has a lot of direct-to-video all over it. There's at least, like, I clocked about, like, 3 different direct-to-video regulars. Like, I think the main woman is Sean Weatherly.
Yep.
Was in Shadow Zone, which was on, like, every other trailer for a direct-to-video thing I saw.
She was a Playboy Playmate, and she was on The Adventures of Beans Baxter, a short-lived Fox series from Savage Steve Holland, the creator of Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer and Eek the Cat.
Nice.
Yep.
And also features the actress from one of your absolute favorite movies ever, Megan Ward.
Oh, well, a Freaked fame. Absolutely.
A Freaked fame.
Nice.
And this, I believe this is after she had done her stint with Full Moon Pictures, having starred in like at least 2 Trancers and
she was in Arcade. Yep.
So,
Arcade is something special, isn't it?
Is that the one with Peter Billingsley?
Yes.
I've never, like, that one was always when I used to collect a lot of Full Moon video cassettes. Mm-hmm. And that one, when I would see the trailer, it's like, oh, Ralphie, I should check that one out. Mm-hmm. And I didn't.
Yeah, I actually rewatched it as part of the Mondo Baltimore film screening series about 2 months ago. We showed it. And we showed it because Lawnmower Man 2 had gone over so well with our crowd. We thought this would be in the same wheelhouse, and I guess it was. But yeah, it's not good.
What?
Yeah.
No. We are... Are we talking about Arcade or Lawnmower Man 2?
Well, both, really.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Neither of which, man, the trailer for Lawnmower Man 2 looked terrible.
Yeah, but yeah, Megan Ward, probably best known to folks in our circles as Julie from Freaked. Probably her biggest hit was as the lesbian girlfriend in the Brady Bunch movie.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, she was the one trying to hook up with Marsha.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she was...
Or with Jen.
She was the girlfriend of that girl at the end of the movie.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So, sorry.
Fair enough.
But yep. Yeah, like, tiny part, barely recognizable, but it is her, and...
We get to see her in other stuff, like this. So this one is based on the series of short stories titled Amityville: The Evil Escapes, which was 2 movies ago. Mm-hmm. We did the Evil Escapes, and apparently there's a whole book of short stories, the premise of all of which is, the haunted garage sale. God, man, these might all tie directly into that made-for-TV The Evil Escapes. Like, these could all be things that were in that yard sale that we saw in the beginning of that movie.
So that was basically the pilot episode of Friday the 13th, the series, and now each movie
but in
is...
New England.
Yeah.
Or in upstate New York? No, Northern Jersey. Amityville, it's Northern Jersey.
Yeah, Toms River, New Jersey.
Yeah.
But yeah, but having to collect all the cursed items or just let them get out there and do their thing.
Yeah.
And there is even, as I was doing some research to see, we're sticking with chronological release order, but we are going to note there is considered a separate canon of Amityville films that are cursed item movies. And again, they stem mostly from this book, although although some here and there also stray from it.
Yeah, so it's sort of like your your George Romero Dead series versus your Return of the Living Dead series. You have a common origin, but then splinters and, rights issues and cashing in on names.
Exactly.
Like any good horror movie.
Yeah, and then the fact that the rights blew out, it's not just Romero versus Russo on those, but then you have anybody being able to use Of the Dead, independent of them, which has gotten us some great results, like Shaun of the Dead. Fantastic.
Love that Shaun of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead is delightful.
It is. It's not as well known in the U.S. It's on Shudder, but it is phenomenal.
And Amazon Prime, I believe.
Oh, excellent.
A lot that I want to say Amazon Prime in some way either owns Shudder or has some sort of parallel licensing thing, because most of them are on. If they're on Shudder, more than likely they're on Amazon Prime.
Gotcha. I know,
except for a handful of exclusives, of course.
Right. Well, Shudder is owned by AMC.
Okay.
And so I know that they have combo packs where you can get an AMC subscription that will include Shudder for an add-on. And AMC does put a lot of their stuff out through Amazon Prime, and sometimes Netflix.
Yeah.
And sometimes Hulu. I think they just kind of carve out where they feel like. But anyway, lots of great Of the Dead stuff out there.
But we're going to talk about Amityville, because that's why you're tuning in.
And so to talk about Amityville, this one is
a clock.
A cursed clock, and the title being It's About Time. So having already had a distraction, I'm going to throw another one out there.
Yeah.
Can you think of any great horror movies that involve time manipulation, specifically either being like a real-time movie, such as like Nick of Time with Johnny Depp, John Badham, or like Time Code, stuff like that, or horror movies that involve time travel? Like there's thrillers, absolutely, but an actual horror movie that involves time travel.
Like, for the former, I can't even think of a horror movie that actually adheres to like a within the movie countdown. It's like, oh, we have to do this by X amount of time, and then like the clock starts ticking in the movie, and then it never it's always 5 minutes equals 20 minutes. It's like every movie basically runs on professional football time, where like 15 minutes takes 1.5 to 2 hours.
Okay.
Which is absurd. Time travel and a horror movie.
Yeah, I can't really think of any. There's some that are time travel movies that get a little bit dark.
A little, like Happy Death Day to You.
That's a good time manipulation.
Time travel element to it.
Well, like both the Happy Death Days, but the second one specifically.
In addition to the Groundhog Day gag, actually has
actual
time travel gags.
That one gets more sci-fi to it.
Yeah.
And as such kind of reduces the horror element of it.
Oh, most def. The horror in Happy Death Day to You is more the horror of being stuck in the situation.
Right.
As opposed to being stuck in the situation and there's a slasher with a creepy baby face running around trying to kill you.
Right.
Which was delightful. Time travel and horror. It should be happening
a thing.
More.
Yeah.
Because you run into the issue of like how thin of a line is there between science fiction and horror, and so I'm trying to think of movies that have a distinctively scary vibe to it, as opposed to a movie with time travel that has some frightening moments.
Right.
But like an actual scary, I might have more after the break.
Yeah, it's something to think about, and I mean, you can always write into our page or, leave it in the comments or whatnot. Anybody who can think of any. The only real-time horror movie I could think of came out last year. It was created, filmed, and released during quarantine. Was Host.
Not the Korean film.
Not the Korean film, but this one also, I believe, is on Shudder as an exclusive. It was some British filmmakers got their cast together. They trained all of the actors to be able to set up the effects in their house and make sure that they could pull off all the different things, test the gags. But it's basically a Zoom call where a group of friends decide they're going to do a seance.
Oh, I think I remember seeing the trailer for that. Or maybe I'm thinking of that that Facebook like Unfriended. I'm thinking of Unfriended.
There is Unfriended and its sequels. Host is the one that I've seen that absolutely delivers on the premise. It is super fun. It doesn't break character. It's legitimately engaging. It gets legitimately creepy as hell. It is a fun ride, and it has the ticking clock from the get-go.
Fair enough.
You know how long a Zoom call can last. That is the length of the movie. Yeah.
Gotcha. Fair.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
I did a triple feature one time, Mobius Strip Horror. Those 3 horror movies that have a time loop in them, where, spoiler alert, the end of the movie is the middle of the movie. And so I don't know if we want to talk about those or if that fits what you're going for.
It could. It's at least... what are some examples?
Well, the 3 that I had for this were the Attic Expeditions, the Tom Jane film Dark Country, and David Lynch's Lost Highway.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking about, where it's just like the story loops back in on itself temporally, in addition to just kind of insanely.
Gotcha.
Like there is like a definite part where it's like, okay, something has gone in reverse and gotten our guy here.
Gotcha. It'll be a whole separate conversation on Lost Highway. I have my own take on it, but I don't believe that there was anything out of order in that. There was some surrealism and some very weird shit going on, but I don't feel like it went out.
Conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's just
I'll
so
keep
rare
thinking
to
about
think
it.
about. Yeah, like
There should be more time travel in horror movies.
there's time travel rom-coms, there's time travel comedies, there's time travel. Like, it's been used in most genres, and same with real time. But for some reason, horror hasn't gotten either of them to any notable degree. Like I said,
The
Host
Philadelphia
is,
Experiment. Philadelphia, like I know it's
time travel, horror elements.
It's like I know it probably technically fits more in sci-fi, but I saw it when I was 8, and when the guy zaps out of existence, nothing has scared me worse.
This is true. Terminator was originally built as more of a horror than a sci-fi.
True.
Second one is action sci-fi,
God, yeah.
but the first Terminator I would say is time travel horror.
I mean, the horror of the future is coming to attack you for things you haven't even done. That's terrifying.
Unstoppable killing machine. It's it's a slasher movie that just involves time travel and robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of which has anything to do with Amityville. It's About Time. Which, Patrick, it's about time we watch the movie.
Fine. All right, we'll be back after the break
I am a genius. I am a genius. And you never recognize this.
I do it off air. All right, we'll be back once we have something to talk about this one. Okay, we finished the movie, Amityville 1992. It's about time, and it is. It is about 8 o'clock. There is some timey-wimey, Jeremy-Baramy kind of things.
Wibbly-wobbly. Not a lot of time travel, per se. There's a reset.
Yeah, but...
Which, also spoilers for the movie, that you should have been watching along with us on Tubi. Which we didn't mention.
Yeah. But yeah, this one, good quality on Tubi, good picture quality, accurate subtitles. So yeah, good there. So we open the movie. There is a storm a-brewing in a very nice California town. Looks like suburbs of LA.
Yep, a little bit of... there's a lot of heavy poltergeist vibes and or references. So we see like a big sign announcing Phase 2 of the neighborhood has begun.
Mm-hmm. And there is a storm a-brewing in practical effects and matte paintings and whatnot.
There was a good matte painting.
Whole lot of movie storm. Also through the weather through the movie, there are leaves flying everywhere.
Yes.
Like, if you watch Legend, all the shit in the air through that movie, I think they were trying to accomplish that on a much smaller budget, because there were even places where I'm pretty sure you might have been able to see somebody's hand as they're throwing a bunch of leaves in front of a fan around a corner, just like...
I told you to wear your brown gloves when you're throwing the leaves on screen.
And they're just bursts of leaves, like somebody's got a leaf cannon.
Yeah. It's almost as if, like, you know, it's like the cat jump scares. It's like, how's the cat always there? How are the leaves already here?
Yeah, and we even see...
Or that great line in Batman Returns, how come there's always somebody that brings lettuce and tomatoes to a speech?
Yeah. Well, in this case, yeah, we get blowing leaves. We even have a guy running a leaf blower in the middle of the movie.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we'll get around to all that.
Trust us, the movie is a lot more interesting than we're making it out. For some reason, we're hung up on the leaves right now.
I wanted to set the tone so you get a sense of the atmosphere. Leaves blowing when they're outside.
There's paint drying like you wouldn't believe in this movie. Wait till you see it.
It is, because the house looks like a set, and it is a set, but
it looks like a set.
Yeah, like more like a local theater production set.
Yeah, these are flats pretending
Yeah.
to be a house.
Like, the unfurnished model home in Arrested Development is more cinematic.
It is. And what's fun is that our main character, or the patriarch of the family, Jacob, played by Stephen Macht of Monster Squad fame, he is a... neighborhood designer. He has an architectural background, so clearly he has designed this house. And I really kind of liked it, how ugly the interior was designed. Like, it very much evokes, this is a guy in the late 80s, early 90s designing a, modern interior house. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of, like, black railings, metal everywhere, like see-through glass tables, and just this marbleized, ugly-ass wallpaper that all just screams, I am a single father, and yes, I do have an architectural background.
Yeah, the walls are all painted in a style that's... Yeah, it looks like if marble was more bluish purple.
It's like you beat the marble up.
Right.
It's bruised.
Bruised marble.
It's bruised marble.
Now I want to see if that is an option if you go to, like, Home Depot. Can I get something in bruised marble for my den?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't want to know how we get it. Mm-hmm. You don't want to know where we get it, or more importantly, how we get it. But we can get it.
Mm-hmm. We don't ask you why you need it. You don't ask us how we do it.
Exactly.
And so this architect, this Mike Brady of the Amityville, Amityverse,
Jacob comes home and he's got a clock. A clock, which I was a little bummed. I was hoping, like, at first I thought, like, continuity was going to be maintained with the number 4, The Evil Escapes, where all these things are coming from the yard sale. He specifically says that he got it from one of the houses they tore down. So it's not like he bought it from a neighborhood. It's like, it was like they were trashing the house, and so he grabbed it. But he grabs this clock.
And, by the way, that implies... That's the Amityville house that was torn down.
Yeah, they tore
after
down.
having been blown up 3 times.
Yeah.
We know it's back.
Yeah. And now they've torn it down again. Or they've officially torn it down. It exploded at number 3. It is inexplicably back in number 4, but was being emptied, and now it has been officially in the movies torn down, like, by people, instead of it just imploding on itself.
Right. So the house, the famous Amityville house, has an off-screen death between movies.
This house is no more.
So he brings this clock home.
It's kind of a nice looking clock.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's antique-y.
Yeah.
It's like I was on the East Coast. They're on the West Coast. Once again, it's not just that the thing has moved out of the house. It has moved all the way to the West Coast, which... I feel like there's got to be some sort of parapsychology study or study of occult activity that this would be amazing proof of, because the curse is traveling across the entire country. Like, it has to be this thing.
Yeah, like piece by piece, it's picking itself up and heading west.
Yes, it's manifest destiny. It's going to... There's gold in them there hills. And by gold, we mean unsuspecting white people.
Yep. This week, nobody got a good deal on a house, but they did get the good deal on... Well, I guess he probably got a good deal on the house, but it was because he designed it. But the house itself was not cursed.
Yeah. He
initially.
Jacob designed... it's revealed later Jacob designed the neighborhood that he and his family, consisting of a teenage sister and brother and occasional helper / ex-girlfriend Andrea, played by Sean Weatherly, who she was just great.
Yeah, she was legitimately good throughout the whole movie. Completely committed to the role, believable in all of her dialogue.
Yeah. And she looked like... I loved her outfits throughout the whole thing. She had like great hair and like good early 90s. Like there were some vests thrown in there, but they looked right. And she also, like, I did look it up. There's an 18-year difference between Stephen Macht and Sean Weatherly, but they never looked wrong together. Like, she never looked like a trophy girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
The kid's birth mother is dead because this is secretly a direct-to-video Disney film.
Yeah. And can't have a happy parent couple in one. No. Not since Sleeping Beauty. So yeah, he gets home with this clock. The nice lady, Miss Iris, in the neighborhood, is watching as he shows up. The cab pulls up. He gets out with a giant box. Lightning striking. She has
the evil.
Yeah, she knows. She has a vision of the original Amityville house.
It was kind of... I thought that bit was pretty effective, where like she sees Jacob go into the house with the clock, and she starts getting the bad vibes, and then they keep cutting to a superposition of the Amityville house and this new house, and it even kind of lines up the like glowing window eyes and everything, maintaining the motif, which like all throughout this movie there's clearly a lot more effort than at least I was expecting to be put into this movie in terms of visual storytelling.
Yeah. Visual callbacks to some of the earlier stuff, but still doing its own thing. Some good, practical effects work, which KNB did the practical effects.
Yep, those are the Walking Dead guys.
Yep, some good and gooey.
Yeah. Like, honestly, this movie, the only thing really holding back this movie is that there's no plot.
Right.
There's just a series of seemingly unconnected events, and by events I mean just the clock is messing with everybody, but there's like really no narrative drive to like we're figuring out what's going on. Half the time they don't even seem to notice what's going on.
Yeah, the son sees things going on and is blamed for everything. It's a very Buttons and Mindy kind of situation. He's seeing all of the evil as it's starting to happen, trying to tell people about it, but only Miss Iris believes it because she was there when they pulled up and recognized the feeling of the original Amityville house as the neighborhood expert on the Amityville horror something. And local busybody. And generally a studier of the occult and the macabre.
Apparently. Like, it's kind of weird. Patrick noted that she served the function of the priest in the earlier films, but it also, like, it's weird seeing the older witch-like historian character, but on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like you don't necessarily need, like, the New England accent to sell it or anything, but it's just, there's a more macabre vibe to East Coast locations and everything, and so it's just like, oh, she's got like this nice rancher style house in this neighborhood, and also all of these tomes of ancient lore.
Yeah, some of which, two of which she knew exactly where they were. One of them includes stories about the Amityville house. She pulls them out. We see it very clearly, but she's flipping through, and there's a picture from inside the Amityville house where you see the clock. And she continues to research based on a vision that the son had, where when the clock first gets into the house, he goes to the one to the living room, I guess.
Yes,
the room with the fireplace.
He's going to the living room to get the phone book, and then they do a pretty good in-camera gag.
Mm-hmm. He goes to get the phone book, and then comes. Oh no, that's a different time jump. There's a part.
Oh yeah, first he does the lights. There's the light switch. Yeah.
So later, he leaves the room from dinner, goes to get something, comes back, and he's been gone all night.
Yeah.
But it's all a single take in camera gag. But earlier, he goes to the room with the fireplace, so therefore the mantle that the clock has drilled itself into, by the way. When they put it on the mantle, it literally spouts out drills and then buckles itself down into the house.
It kind of opens itself up with a sort of like Hellraiser box-esque and or like Phantasm Ball mechanics, and is coming alive and is clearly evil and brassy. Like this is there's like a steampunk person is watching this movie and going, I want that clock. This is what I want. This is what I want my house to be.
So now that the clock is properly mounted on the mantle,
it mounted the mantle.
It sounds way more dirty than I expected.
Yeah, that was intentional. I was making a dirty joke.
Fair. So he goes to turn the light on in that room, or off, or one or the other, but he flicks a switch, and the room instead changes right in front of him to an ancient, or well,
a 15th century torture room.
Yeah, with
like your ancestors used to have.
Mm-hmm. And he flicks the switch a couple times and says weird or something to that effect, but isn't like
it keeps going back and
terrified.
Forth. He flicks the light switch a couple times and it flips back and forth. And apparently this is just Tuesday.
Yeah, a very underwhelming response. When he recounts the room,
he is a disaffected teen.
This is true.
You can tell by the one dangly earring that he's got,
and his anarchy sticker in his room that's not quite the anarchy logo, in case they were worried about copyright infringement on the anarchy logo.
I remember in middle school, one of the funniest things I'd ever seen was a kid had an anarchy patch on his backpack, and it very clearly had a trademark sign on it.
That's amazing.
I don't think anybody involved in the production, all the way to the kid buying it, understood the humor of that.
One person did, and that's the person who put it on there.
That's fair.
They did it like, we're selling anarchy patches?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and tag it.
Trademark and copyright.
Mm-hmm. Let's see you explain that one.
Yeah. Also, he has an adorable dragon guitar. Like, the body of the guitar is in the shape of a dragon. And, I don't think the neck was like the neck of the dragon. You should look it up. Yeah. It's pretty boss.
It's a neat dragon guitar. He likes to sit around his room playing.
Not plugged into anything.
Not plugged into an amp. And not wearing headphones. He's just strumming an unpowered electrical guitar. Sometimes he'll have headphones, but when we first see him, no.
At the very least, the headphones aren't talking to him.
Yeah.
As what happened in number 2. Nor are the headphones talking to him, without it being plugged into anything either.
Right. And he's not wearing the headphones, so they might have been trying to whisper to him, and he just wasn't wearing them, and so the house got frustrated.
I would love, wouldn't it be fun if there was, some sort of reference or just a reaction of the house, being annoyed with the West Coast people not being as readily scared of everything?
Yeah.
Because they're all from L.A., we're all Vals. What does it matter?
Yeah, we've got mudslides, we've got fires, we've got earthquakes. Oh, your house is a little creepy.
I mean, it's grody, but not grody to the max.
Exactly. So he starts picking up that things are wrong. Rest of the family not so much picking up on it.
And then we get the dog attack.
So Dad goes out for a jog. And he jogs past an entire neighborhood full of incredibly friendly people waving to him. Everyone's leaving for work at the same time, kissing each other goodbye. It's Edward Scissorhands type suburbia.
Yes, and almost none of these people will return.
Not
in any real functional way.
Yeah, except for a woman who has her dog Peaches, who we've established is a neighborhood dog that they know.
Yes,
because
Rusty feeds him Pop-Tarts.
Mm-hmm. And Peaches sneaks into the house and growls at the clock at one point. So now Dad's out jogging.
The clock understands me.
It's telling me to real Raggy. So the dad goes on his jog and gets to the end of a long path through a rock quarry or something, but he hits a fence, turns around, and there's the lady.
This is Tedman.
Yep.
And Peaches.
And Peaches just goes for it. Chopper sick balls.
Dude, the dog is a German Shepherd, and it attacks Jacob for 5 minutes straight of like full on chomping the hell out of this guy's leg in like 2 different spots, chopping on his arms. It gets to the point where, and this is for all you people who cannot deal with violence to the animals. There's 2 incidents of violence towards the dog. The first one is when Jacob is fighting back, and my God, it is deserved.
Yeah.
This dog is trying to kill him, and he is just, the wounds that are inflicted on Jacob. I mean, just at the beginning level of just being bit are disgusting. And then he doesn't take care of them, and he just gets more separating and pussy and just disgusting throughout the whole thing. But man, that was bad. He just and Jacob is like trying to climb the fence and get it.
Getting pulled down. He winds up breaking a bottle over the dog's snout and then jabbing the dog in the side of the face.
Yep.
This is important because he apparently walked home from this. Like, we cut to him in the hospital.
Gaping wounds.
Yeah. Like, we see him in the hospital, and we see him when he's brought home and when he's resting in bed, and just like the seeping bandages and how nasty these wounds are and continue to get. But we are told that he walked home from this incident, which also means he would have probably seen her and the dog leave as well.
Yeah.
But whatever. He's a little out of it from dog attack.
And blood loss.
Yeah. So.
But sent home on the same day because the American healthcare system.
Yep. So the son goes over with the Andrea, the father's friend, and more than a friend, they have a love scene. The first love scene we think in the series that's on camera. Yeah,
there was in the first one, Margot Kidder and James Brolin have like an intimate moment that the house kind of puts the kibosh on. Mm-hmm. But nope, this is the first like horror movie sex scene.
Yep,
And
her
it's
on
awesome.
Top just going
and
for
it's
it.
just awesome. I'm gonna be honest. I like horror movies and horror movie tropes, and this is a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of honestly, it looks like a lot of your standard Skinamax sex scenes where there's candlelight, there's
wind blowing, all the drapes and everything.
Yeah, there's semi-transparent silks hanging on the corners of the bed, so you drift past them to see her atop,
and a former Playboy playmate.
Yep. So, and usually we expect Shannon Tweed to be in that spot. But
indeed.
Yeah, now we get Shawn Weatherly, who again is just overall a better actress.
This fulfills our creep quotient of the podcast until we get to Megan Ward's dramatic transformation towards the end.
That's something. So, anyway, so she's more than a friend, but she's now pretty much obligated to trying to help out the kids and him, even though he's starting to act like an ass, and she's remembering why they broke broke up years ago anyway.
And she has a life outside of this. She was there to watch the kids while he was on the East Coast, but she is a graduate student working on her doctoral program and has a new boyfriend. And so she does not want to be here and has legitimate reasons to not be there. So, like, again, really like the Andrea character, very well fleshed out throughout the film. No pun intended.
Yeah. So her and the son go over to check on the dog.
Yeah.
And just, get a statement or whatnot.
And
something.
they're checking for
rabies. Right. They're checking to see about rabies shots.
Yeah.
And the dog is fine, and the woman says the dog hasn't left the house all day, nor has she. And the dog shows up and is fine, has no signs of a cut or anything like that.
No.
And so we think, well, the dog must be fine then. And then later that night, while the son is off doing his own thing, the woman finds her dog in her pool filter.
Yeah, like all you see is the head. Like, again, if you have issues with violence towards animals, there are two parts you should really skip. It is surprising and gross.
Yeah. But yeah, so Peaches has been canned.
Yep. I hate you so much. Why do you do this? Why do you choose to be this?
Do what I gotta do.
And then there's a swastika.
Yeah. We get the dog thing, and then we cut to the next day. The one neighbor has a swastika painted on their garage.
Bright red, like, on the entire garage door. It is enormous. And everybody, the police are there, and everybody surrounding the police are immediately pointing to the Sterling
Metalhead,
the Sterling family.
Yeah,
the Sterling house and the Metalhead Rusty's home, and it's a really fun shot. Like, Andrea's getting the paper, she looks over and is like, "Wha-bam! Swastika," and then all of a sudden everybody is pointing at her and it's like, oh,
it's like, no, wait, what? Why? This is bad. So yeah, everyone thinks that Rusty did it because the house is trying to make Rusty look guilty for everything. I'm not sure exactly why they all thought Rusty would do it, except Metalhead.
Yeah.
And like, he wears black. I mean, 92,
I mean, it's a lot of, like Tipper Gore congressional hearing type of logic.
Yeah.
Parental guidance is suggested.
So the cops go in and are trying to find out what's going on about the dog, about the swastika, all that. One of the cops, I swear to God, looks like an amalgam of Proctor and Tackleberry from the Police Academy films.
Yeah.
But it's neither. We stopped a movie
much to the
research.
movie's, detriment. Jacob is not handling his wounds well. He's not handling his frustration with the project, which he was told to, it was suggested to him that he bring the clock home as inspiration for the new housing development to give it a timeless look. There's a lot of forced time metaphors. Like, if you watched any of the Fast and the Furious movies, imagine any driving metaphor from the Fast and the Furious, but with a clock. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of good shots of him going nuts in his office where he's just repeatedly drawing the Amityville house with no explanation or reaction. Yeah. Because none of the people... That's one of the fun things. None of the people, Andrea or anybody, knows about the Amityville house.
Right.
And yet, this imagery keeps popping up.
Yeah, they're all subconsciously aware of the evil that has joined them. Some of his drafts look like actual architectural drafts. Some of them look more fridge-ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's letting his muse take him where it needs to go.
And he's definitely slipping.
Oh, yeah. This it was a nice return of the house, or the possessed object in lieu of the house driving a character insane again. Like, we hadn't really seen that since the fourth one. Or it wasn't in the fifth one, I guess is the thing. Or really the third one. It wasn't really... Nobody really gets driven nuts in the third one.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's a hit and miss of the franchise.
Well, but it's a strong thing in the number 1 and number 2, and then in number 4, The Evil Escapes, the daughter is being driven insane.
Yeah. But
I mean, it was a
yeah.
central thing about the original.
And this one is he going insane or possessed? But I feel like that's part of the question on each of these anyway.
True. And this one has a lot of explanations for why it is not necessarily demonic possession, because he's got, like, the infection, he's on painkillers, they said the antibiotics are going to give him a lot of side effects, so it's any number of things.
Dumped 2 days worth of Thorazine in him at one point.
Yep. Or it's demonic possession.
Right. So, and we know other weird evil shit's going on.
Yeah.
So, at this point, his leg is getting nasty, and Andrea doesn't necessarily want to leave the house, so Lenny, or Leonard,
So she brings the boyfriend over.
he comes over to do a little picnic. He brought over Laotian food.
Yeah.
They do a picnic out back where he is speaking completely rationally about the situation.
He is a psychiatrist.
Yeah, and he is explaining that this is a bad old relationship that she is still being manipulated by. There's a reason she got out of the relationship. She can't be drawn in to protect the kids when that means she's going to be trapped into this relationship. Like, he's making very intelligent, salient points.
Yeah.
But he comes off as a very, as you put out,
such a
Ellis
douche.
from Die Hard level douche. So it's like, great. I don't want to listen to this douche no matter how right he is.
But he's right about everything.
He's completely right.
She's got to get out of this relationship. Like, even if, like, factoring out the supernatural elements of this, just on paper, none of this is a healthy situation for you.
No, not
Don't
even
be
remotely.
here anymore.
But before she gets a chance to rebut, the house, or the hedge next to the house, catches fire.
Yeah, but luckily, Walter Paisley, played by Dick Miller, is there to save it.
Now, Walter Paisley had relocated and was under the assumed name of Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
But we know who he is.
Yeah, don't trust the movie credits. The movie credits don't know. They will list Dick Miller as Mr. Anderson, but it's Walter Paisley.
Yeah, he has played Walter Paisley and Mr. Futterman, and that's about it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's Walter Paisley.
So, yeah, they get the fire out. We get our nice Dick Miller cameo.
Yeah.
And
And then we get a really terrifying sequence with Leonard in the kitchen. After post-coital fun with Andrea and Leonard goes down for a midnight snack, and the house starts messing with him and gives him a vision of a seemingly completely healthy Jacob talking to him about, what are your intentions with Andrea? What have you been doing with Andrea?
He says.
Andrea.
Are you going to sleep with my Andrea?
And you have to imagine, like, the whole time, Leonard is wearing Andrea's dressing gown.
Yeah.
This really, jade green satin number, which it's real. I thought it was adorable that he's wearing her
It looked comfortable.
It did look comfortable, and it was just kind of cute.
Yeah.
And there's, like, this great moment where Jacob, the patriarch, is really ratcheting up the creepiness, but the camera is just on Leonard, and Leonard immediately looks terrified and just, like, heretofore, like, much more scared than he was. And then the camera reveals that Jacob has pulled a Walther PPK out. And Leonard is played by an actor named Jonathan Penner, and I just thought Jonathan Penner really just was incredible in that scene. Just, he made me scared for him.
Like, he actually brought tension to the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stephen Mocht was great.
He was
just
giving the creepy performance, but, like, we get a lot of those in this. But actually watching somebody be convincingly scared.
Yes.
Because he's already weirded out. The microwave starts slowing down its timer.
Yeah.
The ceiling fan slows down, and then here's Jacob aiming a gun at him, not only asking, what are you doing with Andrea? You already fucked her, didn't you?
Yeah.
I know you did. What is my daughter next?
Daughter.
Yeah.
And you see Leonard try like in real time trying to figure out what can I say to make this guy not shoot me in the face, and knowing that there is nothing you can say to this guy.
He's gonna shoot me if I admit to the truth. He's gonna shoot me if he thinks I'm a liar. He's gonna, this fucking sucks. And then Jacob just pulls the trigger, and Leonard comes to, jumps, screams, and Andrea puts her hand on his shoulder. He is freaked out.
It was all an illusion. Tricks are what whores do for money. I know. It's like a robot. You can't get past. You have to hear the other line.
So now this is the first time. Like, the teenage daughter had been,
Megan Ward.
She's been very sweet and innocent, but now she's upstairs while this is all going on.
Now it's her turn.
She's just kind of looking like in a very long, nightgown.
Frumpy.
Frumpy nightgown, looking at herself in the mirror, and goes over and just kind of starts making faces. And anyone who's seen an Evil Dead movie, knows what happens next. But to a degree, because she starts looking at herself, then the reflection starts moving differently, and it's out of sync. And besides running away, she's fascinated. She's brought into it. She's been exploring herself as she looks in the mirror, and she's been kind of teasing herself in the mirror. Yeah. And then she leans out of the mirror and starts feeling her up.
Then her mirror self moves out of the mirror and starts feeling up the real person.
Mm-hmm. And moves chest down. And she
mirror masturbation.
Yep. She takes care of business herself.
She had some helping hands.
Yes. And then comes to and is not quite sure what's going on, but she's changed.
She is excited.
Yeah, the next time we see her, she is dressed like somebody who has never been to a mall. Their idea of what a mall slut would look like.
Yep.
Like, it's, especially around like the late 80s, early 90s. She's got the super short mini skirt.
Midriff showing.
Hair
is teased in every direction.
Oh my god, her hair looks like a tsunami.
It's so bad. And
it's giant.
Fire engine red lipstick.
Yep. Yeah, she has definitely gone through a metamorphosis.
Yeah.
She's much, peppier. She's much more flirty.
It's bedtime. And that's how she lures Andy to his gooey death.
Yeah, Andy did not expect to go goo that tonight that way.
Andy is her purported boyfriend or love interest, at least.
Yeah, new boyfriend, but ends the scene where she's saying, hey, let's hook up in his car. His dialogue implies everything of... You keep telling me to wait. Are you just telling me that again? She's like, no, we're going to make a game of it. We're going to play Hansel and Gretel. And so he closes his eyes for 10 seconds while she leaves a trail of, air quote, breadcrumbs. Yep. Her clothes leading from the car around to the house, into the room with the train garden that the father had been making in the basement.
Yep. Because trains.
Yeah. We would have mentioned it earlier, but it literally doesn't matter. I had
completely forgotten about it.
And there, amidst the train garden, she's wearing his Leatherman... she asked for his Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
She's just wearing her bra and granny panties.
Yeah.
Reminding you that while she did this metamorphosis, she didn't actually go out and shop for new clothes yet.
She needs to get new clothes.
Yeah.
She has Andy stripped down to his briefs, and, man... I gotta tell you, Lisa made the wrong choice here. Andy looked like he was gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
I'll just say the underwear was brief, but
the underwear
does not look like the rest of them.
No. He filled out that underwear pretty great. Mm-hmm. But then he gets subsumed into a puddle of black goo. There's a lot of black goo in this one.
There's a lot of black goo.
Gets sucked into it. And this scene
turned into goo himself. He gets melted.
It's kind of like the Raft and Creep Show 2. But, not as great. It just, this scene, if they had shaved, 30 to 45 seconds off of it, it would have been a lot tighter and scarier. But it keeps cutting in between her enjoying him dying and him like writhing in agony, and like there's like one too many rounds of it, and it's like, okay,
It's like,
but then
yes,
are we doing
cool
this or
effects.
what? Are
You
we
paid
doing it?
for all
Let's go.
this,
Let's go.
but we don't
get
have
this
to linger
done.
this long. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the black goo that has been through the movie and continues to, when she finishes herself in front of the mirror, black goo runs down the mirror.
Yeah.
At one point, when they're trying to escape the house, the doorknob comes off, and goo shoots out of the empty part, or the
door
stem
handle.
part of the doorknob, not from the door, but the doorknob in her hand.
It is a pretty good gag.
Yeah, but yeah, black
And
goo kind
black
of
goo
just
comes-
shoots out of everything here.
It
and
even
there.
shoots out of Jacob's wound at one point, which was just
Yeah.
awful. But meanwhile, Rusty is trying to get more information from the local Bruja, Iris, and after she gives him the info about first, she realizes that the torture room that he had seen earlier was actually this 15th century French torture room, in which was the clock, and somehow the clock emigrated to the Amityville house, and so that's how all of this connects up. But the most important thing about this sequence is that after Rusty leaves the house, Iris goes out the front to just kind of take in the air and try to like figure out what is going on.
Yeah,
and in the
leaves are
background,
blowing, including a guy with an actual leaf blower
Yeah.
for once. But yes, in the background.
In the background, there is no less than 5 toilets on the curb, apparently waiting to be taken away. There's like every house on the street has a toilet sitting by the mailbox, like as if this is where you would put the garbage can. I mean, there are garbage days, there's recycling days, there's bulk pickup days. Is there a porcelain toilet day
Maybe
in this neighborhood?
Maybe the fixer-up nature of the neighborhood. Maybe that's why the dad had to move there, is because there are house problems, and so everyone's setting out their old toilet. If your toilet breaks, you set it out, and then we'll come by and replace it.
How are they all replacing them at the same time? There are 5 of them.
It might have been a
5.
consistent bad batch.
Jesus.
There might have been a recall notice through the neighborhood. We're sorry about your toilets. We know black goo has been coming out of houses in this neighborhood. So maybe check for possessions, but also go ahead and set your toilet out, and we'll worry about the goo coming out of bathtubs next week.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
literally
bizarre.
like there's 2 right next door to each other. The house across the street has a toilet at the curb.
Like
There's
every
just
time the camera angle changes, there's a new toilet in the street.
yeah, like revealing another one from another angle while you're doing it. So we were fascinated by the toilets when we barely noticed, except they cut in, that the house has once again taken agency. This is an evil that knows how to drive.
The house is driving cars again. Every time.
Yeah.
It's so good. The only one that doesn't have this gag is number 2.
Still stands.
It still stands. Love
So
number
yeah, a neighbor had been getting diapers delivered, which I guess was a thing, but I mean now we're used to
Still
that.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, it's still weird, like, in the mid 80s in movies where you see milk being delivered.
Yeah,
You're like, for
yeah.
real?
Milkman or a diaper service seemed
diaper.
like yeah.
Yeah, and there is a very big stork mascot on top of the van with a very pointy beak.
Yeah, kind of a springy one, like when you see, like in a movie, the exterminator with the bug on top.
Yeah. It
Like
keeps-
that kind of.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought like a little bit they were going for like that water feeder bird gag.
Yeah,
where it just
yeah.
kept, because of like the pendulum, because it just kept going so much.
So there's the van. It's pops out of park
Yeah.
and starts drifting down the street while the guy is talking to the woman getting the diapers. Meanwhile, Iris's cane gets jammed into some goo leaking
Yep.
out of some cracks
More
in the
goo.
in the street. She can't pull it out. She's calling for help until finally she just leans to the side so that she gets out of the way, crawls, and the van manages to take out
Mailbox?
not a mailbox, but like a brick
Oh, like a driveway.
Yeah, like driveway post kind of thing.
Yeah.
And smashes into it. Oh, sweet relief. It missed her. And then she looks up and sees the bird pecking back and forth, back and forth. Had it been once or twice, it might have been quick and shocking.
Yeah.
As it stands, it was still fun.
It's still fun. Like, once again, it's just like, if you would tightened it up just a little bit, it would be more effective. But the beak impales Iris, and since like this all happened in front of several witnesses seeing the car drive itself and the mascot, apropos of nothing, falling off and impaling Iris, obviously the police arrest Rusty.
Yeah. Rusty had just come out from inside the house. He had gone in the back and found all of the notes. Basically found the two books open, one with a picture of the clock at the original Amity house, one with a picture of the clock and the torture basement. Puts everything together. Doesn't really do much reading on it. I guess it's implied maybe he did.
He's a speed reader. He's really brainy, that Rusty.
So he now knows that this evil is based in the clock because Iris had known Amityville when, he mentioned it by name incorrectly.
Yeah.
She's aware of the Amityville curse. She knew what guy to look up to look into when he describes the torture room. Somehow she pieced all of it together on the correct guess the first time through on both, and very easy mystery to solve. It's kind of the NCIS problem of your first guess is right.
Yeah, it's like, look, we got to end this movie at some point. Let's start, because again, it's weird. There's no narrative drive. The things keep happening. Things keep getting worse, so there's a ratcheting up of tension, but none of our characters are really putting anything together or noticing a pattern.
They're not motivated by anything. They don't have any goals. They don't have...
They know it sucks. They don't want to be in the situation, but they're not doing anything.
They're except for Andrea, most of the characters are just kind of living amid shit going wrong and saying, by the way, you know that, there's some evil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The father's leg has now turned full-on grotesque, giant pussy bubbling boils.
It's pulsating.
It's leaking blood and black goo. Lenny, the boyfriend, is taking a bath, and that fills with black goo, and then he's trapped in the room.
Yeah.
They wind up tying the Jacob down and pumping him again with 2 days worth of Thorazine.
This is after he attacked Andrea with a phone.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Because she was trying to call a hospital
because
of the leg. So instead of just saying, okay, let's drive him to the hospital, because the phone went dead, apparently.
Yeah, after they called in the ambulance, which is not showing up.
Right. So they pump him with Thorazine. Don't worry, folks. For 2 days.
The sequence of events in this movie is tight as a drum. Everything is explained.
Yeah. The fact that we don't remember or are not presenting these in the right order affects none of it.
No. We could have... We'll get to why.
Yeah. So, the dad, who is not only, knocked out like Dana Barrett, but hog-tied with gauze and bed sheets.
Venkman gave her Thorazine as well.
Yeah.
We know, nobody ever makes a big deal out of the fact that Venkman just had Thorazine on him. Because he's a creep.
Yeah. So, the dad wakes up. Lenny has a freak out in the bathtub.
In his defense, he opened his eyes to be covered in black ooze, and then Andy pops out of it.
Yeah. Andy, who had been gooified, comes out of it. And this is 92, so this is before the black goo had become a real X-Files thing, so he didn't know what to do with it.
No, this was straight up Swamp Thing coming in through the pipes and the return of Swamp Thing.
Right.
Yeah. Which, that came out before this.
Yeah.
And you guys at home, everybody has seen Return of the Swamp Thing, right?
Well, I can't imagine.
Got Heather Locklear.
Yeah, I can't imagine an Amityville podcast wouldn't have some crossover with a Jim Wynorski fan club.
Jim Wynorski.
All right, so Lenny freaks out, and then they discover that the father has been making models of a new development loaded with Amityville houses, including one of them has gravestones with all of their names on it, and there's a body hanging outside the window in a I did it for you, Damien kind of way.
Yep. I think they should be worried at this point. And they are.
Yeah. This is...
No coordinated plan to get out of the house, though. Mm-hmm. We're still all just kind of like every man for himselfing it a bit.
Yeah. This is like, you see this model, and it's like you see what the Maitlands have been doing. You're like, that is cute. Yeah, a little bit weird. You see, like, the Hereditary miniature house. You're like, okay, we should talk. This one is full on.
He gonna kill you,
dude.
He's going to kill you. This is his plan to kill you.
Mm-hmm. So they're trying to make their escape. The house is not letting them out. It's closing windows. It's locking doors. Again, gooing the knob.
Gooing that knob.
Which again sounds way dirtier than it needs to, but we're gonna keep it. And that the Rusty then goes up to try and rescue Lisa, and finds bloody handprints all over the room. She's got blood. His room. There's some blood on her, but it's more like we don't know whose blood it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Just there's blood. And she starts trying to seduce him, so we finally get our 2 callback.
It's like finally part of the brother-sister stuff from number 2 returns. Mm-hmm. Everybody that had been chomping at the bit for that.
Yeah. But he is less receptive to it, thankfully.
Yeah. See, it's a nice role reversal.
Yeah.
Where the sister was the aggressor in the situation.
Mm-hmm. But she's got him pinned to the ground, and she's going to take him to task. Uh-huh. And so he managed to escape by taking the 1/4-inch cable from his guitar and jamming it in her mouth and electrocuting her.
That's how speakers work.
Like, I know that's killed many a musician is a live 1/4-inch cable. But yes, sparks shoot out of her mouth and she drops. We have to assume dead.
Yeah, that is the last we see of her there. Mm-hmm. Like in that sequence.
Yeah, so he makes an escape, gets downstairs where he and Andrea are now fighting against
Jacob. It's like full on like Jack Torrancing this whole place with his T-square.
Mm-hmm. And T-square and his oversized drafting compass. He pins Andrea to the wall with both points of the compass jabbing in behind around her neck. Mm-hmm. We start to see light creeping out from the walls, so we now know that the house has gotten extra. It's like a bright white light with a little bit of mist and fog. Mm-hmm. We start taking apart the walls.
And it's all gears and clockworks, and this is the point at which the steampunk crowd, their eyes are rolling back in their heads.
Yep. This is the original House with the Clock in the Walls, except that book I think came out well before that. So.
Yeah, probably.
But
this is the clock with the house in its walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the house...
And also, there's goo all over the clockworks in the walls.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything without the goo. And, like, there's a bunch of fun gags. Like, the Rusty goes to try to get Jacob off of Andrea, and the clock starts moving backwards, and it takes us, like, a couple cuts to realize that the clock has de-aged Rusty down to a toddler.
Yeah, with a mullet. So, when Rusty's just a toddler with a mullet, Andrea yells at the clock, you will let him go.
Yeah.
And so
she's making a deal with the house now.
I don't even know if it was a deal so much. It was just, she tells the house this, and the house is like, oh, yeah, all right.
I guess.
And it lets the kid out, and then closes the door, so I guess it's not all evil.
Yeah, that one's kind of weird.
Yeah. And then,
she makes plans to blow up the house.
Yeah. She has turned on the gas for the fireplace underneath the mantle because the clock has drilled itself in. It's trapped.
You cannot remove the clock from the house anymore.
Yeah. And she finally manages just barely to strike a lighter.
But in the process of trying to strike the lighter, the house ages her up to an old lady.
Oh,
Which,
yeah,
again,
yeah.
this is like a nice, like, it would have been nice if these gags had come a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, aging, like, playing around with people's ages and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, really fucking around with it.
Yeah.
But it's last minute.
And she is like old. Like
Old.
the actress didn't seem like she knew what kind of a movie she was being put into. She was like, "Oh, you just want me to stand here, turn around, and look at the clock?" Okay. Like it might have been somebody's grandmother on a set visit.
Yeah. Still on.
Yeah. But manages to strike the lighter.
Yeah.
And then we see superimposed big explosion with the clock flying out, kind of like if there was a Memorial Day sale for that clock.
Yeah.
And this was a local commercial.
Yeah.
This is what you would see.
Then it gets pulled. Then the clock is flying through a vortex, and then all of a sudden, we are back at the beginning of the movie.
Like Andrea's there. The car pulls up. He shows up at the house. She is still holding the T-square that she was just using to defend herself.
Yeah.
And he says, "What's the what's that for?" And she says, as she did at the beginning of the movie,
For protection.
for protection.
Yeah, she is in the same outfit she was in at the beginning of the movie.
And the dialogue is looping the same, so she is now having the Groundhog Day. Like, I remember this. Was this all just a vision? Did I actually stop the clock? Whoa. So this time...
Stop the clock.
So this time she just looks at it, grabs it from Jacob, throws it to the ground, smashes the fuck out of it, just destroys it, and then just starts storming out. Done with his family. She's gotten closure. She's not dealing with Jacob anymore. And he even says, "What was that all about?"
And she, like, looks right at the camera. It's about time. That's what. At which point, I cheered. Because you know what? Like, strip away all the supernatural stuff. She's getting away from a toxic dude. Mm-hmm. And it's about time that she does.
Exactly. That would
so
have been...
good.
It's such a perfect line to go out on.
If this had been a good movie. If this had been a good movie, they could have built to this instead of it just being a throwaway joke line.
Yeah, but even still, like, it was a nice rah-rah moment to go out on. So to kill that, as she storms out and I think takes the cab. No, but she storms out. And the son Rusty looks out the front door and sees Miss Iris on the street where she was at the beginning of the movie, looking up, and he just says under his breath, but she hears him and nods.
Yeah.
He says, "Pure evil." And she nods, and then we just look at the house, and then we get credits.
Yeah.
So how did he remember any of this? How did she remember any of this? How did they have any of these conversations? We might find out next time.
Maybe.
Because the next two movies, again, are from Republic Pictures, so I have to assume they just keep continuity rolling.
Obviously.
Yeah.
There's a clear fan base that they would be trying to please. Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I thought the resale value for this Amityville house was pretty good.
It was much better than I remembered it being when I first saw it back in '92. Yeah, I would say this was a fun one to watch. It's not high art, but it's definitely more entertaining than some of the other entries. Some fun gags. And again, I legitimately think that a lot of the performances were full-on committed. They were in it. They weren't like... Yeah, they weren't cutting themselves off because it's a cheapie, or they weren't... and Sean Weatherly, like, if this had
really
been
good.
something else, I could have... It's a shame her career didn't go stronger than it did.
Yeah, no, there's definitely potential there. Like, and yeah, nobody was phoning it in. Everybody was trying to the best of their abilities. Sean Weatherly, Gabriel Mock to Jonathan Penner, knocking it out of the park. The kids were fine.
Yeah.
We've liked Megan Ward. We've seen be better in other things, but she didn't really
Definitely.
have much to work with.
She was,
in this.
she was given the, okay, you're the sweet girl, you're going to be slutty later, later, but that's kind of all we got for you. I mean, she still delivers her lines fine, and there's a chemistry amongst the family.
Yeah.
That is a huge thing. The whole cast has a good chemistry.
Yeah, and like they do, like, it would be easy to make the relationship between Andrea as the father's ex-girlfriend and the relationship between her and the kids much more acrimonious, but
they actually really got along with her, and I think even sort of, well, they did say you should get back together with him, but I feel like they also understood the fights that they had.
Yeah, like the sister sees her more as like a family friend now, and like the son being a punk just doesn't give a shit about anything. But there's a realism to it. And
she at different points gives them motherly advice or commands or but like she definitely has taken on that role with them in their lives at some point, because it's not completely foreign to them, and they don't outwardly reject and say you're not my mom. They have dealt with her as a mom figure, so they're not rejecting her in that way.
I was very pleasantly surprised to see that dynamic work that well. The special effects were really good.
The practical effects were good. The matting was
the practical effects, it was K&B, so the makeup, even in 1992, you can see they're really, really good at it. Everything looks realistic and gross, and then silly when it needs to look silly. And they apparently have a near endless supply of black goo. But
and with the way it ended and the discussion we'd had at the beginning, two things that can be described as horror, one more borderline so, one more definitely so, that do similar time resets itself, jump back and forth tricks that we thought of was Twin Peaks: The Return.
Sure.
It closes on a similar, can we go back and reset the horror button? And Adam Weingart's Blair Witch entry.
I haven't seen that.
Gotcha. It does a lot of timey-wimey stuff, a lot of, a day has passed for you, a year has passed for you, we don't know when or where or what we are at this point. It does similar timey-wimey things.
Gotcha.
But still, a rarity in horror.
I was reminded of the Russian horror film Daywatch, which has, a big reset towards the end of it. Much in a similar way, and that's a pretty... Night Watch and Day Watch are really fun, weirdo horror superhero movies that were made by Timur Bekmambetov of Wanted and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter fame.
Yeah.
But you should check those out. But so what is next?
Actually, I thought of one other, but it's a little
Stop trying to one-up me, Patrick.
No, it's
Stop trying to one-up. I had the last one.
I think you would like this one, too. It was called The Hive.
I let you talk about the Blair Witch Project sequel.
Fine. There's one called The Hive. It was the first horror movie produced by The Nerdist. And there's multiple movies called The Hive.
Yeah.
This one is the one produced by them. So, you can do it. I don't know how else to tell you to find it, because I don't know what it's streaming on anymore. It's hopped different services. I think it's on Shudder now. It seems like that's kind of been the home for a lot of this stuff.
Fair enough.
But it is another one that plays with flashbacks. It's kind of Memento, but more sci-fi, but more... I don't want to give too much away, but it is a very fun...
I'm so glad you brought it up.
Yeah. So
I love you.
I was trying to stall to find a list of which one was next, and I failed. Coming up next,
A New Generation. So does this mean it's going to have Patrick Stewart and
I'm hoping
Jonathan
so.
Frakes?
That would be much better than having the new monkeys move into the house. That one didn't go as well. And Dollhouse is after that, and I'm looking at the poster for Dollhouse, and they are really trying to push the Amityville house to look like Jason's mask from the poster for 5. So it wouldn't have been Jason, it would have been Roy, but No, like they're yeah. Anyway, next week we have Amityville: A New Generation.
Yeah.
Which means I am guessing that the house has regenerated itself
And is now a Pepsi house instead of a Coca-Cola house.
That works for me. My God, do you think that the Amityville house is a Time Lord? After this movie, I don't know.
I mean, the powers of the Amityville house and its, items is near limitless.
Yeah.
And also has no real goal other than just messing with people. Like, it's never trying to do anything other than, are there people in the house? Okay, I want these people in the house to kill the other people in the house.
But they would be the companions. It's taking them on this horrific journey. Like the
doctor is nicer about killing the people that he travels with. Mm-hmm. Like, he gives them nice adventures. Oh, no. I'm just talking about every companion has a terrible fate. But they have fun adventures first, at least.
Right. He gives them something to go out on.
Exactly. And then they have, if they're lucky, a horrible death. If they're unlucky, they're Donna. Yeah, I said it. Yeah. Donna got screwed. Donna got screwed worse than any other companion ever. And she was the best.
This is considering that Rory was, stuck for centuries as a centurion. Which,
yes.
Oh, yeah, I get that now.
He didn't get nuts. Or he didn't go... He still ends up with Amy.
Yeah.
Justice for Donna, god damn it. All right.
So next week, Amityville Horror... Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror.
Okay, that's actually a different thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll keep tuning in.
Yep. See you next week.
If you want to interact with us online, you can check us out on Instagram or Twitter at Amityville Show, or you can send us an email at podcastamityville@gmail.com.